Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. Sorry about the massive delay in episodes. There was supposed to be 155, was supposed to happen last Friday. This is supposed to be episode, 158 or something. But the way I'm going to handle that is I'm going to just attempt, at least, to do 6 episodes of the SCP Foundation Wiki between now and Saturday. Starting with this one. So, in this episode we're going to be starting with the reconstructive maggots, and that's already making my skin crawl. Followed by Hephaestus's Forge. I sometimes wonder if it's Hephaestus, but I've only ever heard it say Hephaestus. The Forever Room, a marble bath, and the Decerebrating Plague, which sounds like it's a plague that makes the brain cease to brain. So, let's check out them there maggots. They're Euclid, and they're on meat. They're reconstituting the meat. A single pair of human SCP-726 samples are to be contained. Wait, what? Human? Are to be contained at Site 17 in a padded cell for their own safety, cleaned of any waste matter at 24-hour intervals. A diet of mixed vegetable slurry is adequate for their nutritional needs. A jar of smooth peanut butter may be provided to pacify subjects during cleaning and examinations. On a quarterly basis, subjects shall be provided with a pair of mixed-sex cadavers and terminated as for successful reproduction. Absolutely no other animal tissues of any kind are permitted in the enclosure at any time. Description: SCP-726 are physiologically and genetically identical to the eggs and larvae of Lucilia sericata, a species of blowfly common worldwide in warm climates. Which I guess would be anywhere in the United States this summer. Where was I? When larvae hatch on decomposing animal matter, they begin to consume non-living tissues as normal until none remain, at which point they collect at a central point and begin to regurgitate a continuous stream of healthy, living cellular matter, and will multiply in number by unknown means as volume increases. If uninterrupted, 726 will reconstruct a complete body matching that of the original tissue source. The reconstruction process occurs at high speed, resembling footage of maggot activity in reverse, and ending with the full restoration of life functions as all larvae abruptly drop off and appear to disintegrate. While otherwise restored to optimum physical health, any organism reconstituted by 726 exhibits only the mental processes of a mature blowfly. Instances instinctively follow the wafting odors of decaying organic materials and attempt to consume them via licking and sucking actions. Instances of all species move clumsily and periodically spasm in an apparent attempt to beat non-existent insect wings, with avian and chiropteran examples failing to achieve flight by their usual means. What does that mean? Bats. You could have just said bats. You could have just said birds and bats. Proximity to any source of decaying flesh will excite subjects into mating behavior, coupling without regard to original species. Any mechanically successful copulation will produce a fertile clutch of 726 eggs, which reconstructed females attempt to deposit on any appropriate food source. 726 has proven capable of replicating a complete body from any volume of flesh regardless of its condition, including multiple copies of the same body from disconnected fragments. Reconstructed bodies that have subsequently expired can be reconstituted again by 726 like any other tissue sample, but are subject to an increasing degradation of accuracy. See generation log. Which is here. On August 16th, 19-something, a Ms. Faber of Beckley, West Virginia, was discovered nude in a dumpster behind a local blankety-blank, engaging in redacted with a large male redacted, and subsequently hospitalized for acute dementia. Over the following weeks, locals reported outbreaks of abnormal animal behavior, including large numbers of domestic cattle, swine, and poultry inconsistent with local livestock. Foundation operatives deduced the reproduction habits of 726 and discovered animals reconstituting from meat scraps in the dumpster where Miss Faber was found. During containment sweeps, identical instances of Ms. Faber were found wandering in the woods near her property. Under interrogation, Mr. Faber admitted to the murder and dismemberment of his wife. Test log 817 Dr. Blank SCP-726 generation log. I have decided to begin by testing the limits of repeated replication. A single 726 egg will be introduced per sample. Due to their rapid multiplication, maggot volume does not affect their speed of operation, only the size of the organism to be reconstructed. Sample: one freshly killed Norwegian rat, cut in half lengthwise. 726 reconstituted two versions of the same rat. Their coat patterns mirror image one another. Sample: remains of duplicate rats from previous experience processed into a fine paste and mixed. 726 separated sample into two portions and reconstructed nearly the same two copies, one with a red right eye. Sample: remains of least divergent duplicate rat processed into fine paste. Rat reconstituted with slight limp, blind in both eyes. Heart from blind rat, reconstituted without eyes or pigmentation, squeaks incessantly. Heart from eyeless rat cut in half, two eyeless rats. One only walks in tight circles, other completely devoid of hair and unusually aggressive towards the first. Note, the insect behavior appears to be degrading with the physiology. Sample: scraps of flesh from hairless rat. Eyeless, hairless, and limbless. Fails to return fully to life. Brain case found to contain a liver. Liver from brainless rat. Eyeless, hairless, limbless with elongated worm-like midsection. Nodules scattered throughout body appear to be completely eyeless. Drastic increase in aggression. It eventually begins to consume its own posterior end and expires from blood loss. Sample: fresh, complete remains from previous rat. Large, formless mass of tissues and viscera trembles until extinguished. Portion of previous result: large, slug-like motile mass of undifferentiated cells. Appears to absorb nutrients through skin. Portion of previous result: identical to previous tests. Let's continue for 4 additional tests with no divergence. I've decided to keep the final slug for long-term observation. I'm calling him Brundle. Single scrap of dried flesh from a cadaver dated blank BC. Reconstituted middle-aged male exhibiting expected fly behavior. This could be an interesting new forensics tool. One fingertip from a disposable dude. The subject reconstituted and exhibited expected fly behavior. Standard range of identification tests were compared to public and Foundation records. DNA precise match, dentition, and fingerprints reversed. Ocular orb taken from previous disposable dude. Reconstituted with normal dentition, entirely foreign fingerprints. There appears to be a slight margin of error even from original samples. One living disposable dude with large infected gash on ankle. SCP 726 applied to wound. Dead tissues were consumed and reconstruction proceeded until wound was healed. Subject appeared healthy until behavior deteriorated over the course of blank hours. They display all properties associated with 726 constructs and subsequently terminated. I guess we could rule out any medical applications. A porterhouse steak. Result: mature steer, normal except for dipteran behavior and appetites. Subject slaughtered. Porterhouse steak served to a disposable dude control group. Subsequent examinations are unremarkable until data expunged, consistent with known that. A marginally greater biohazard than we thought, suggesting closer observation of original site. I don't know what that is. What is that? Flies. I guess bloat flies. They're blowflies. Has it been saying blowflies the entire time and I've just been saying bloat flies? I feel like it's been saying blowflies. Has it been saying blowflies? Yep, I'm just stupid. Okay. Let's see. Porterhouse steak. A fine paste of blank assorted insects and arachnids. Blank reconstructed arthropods behaving as flies. All females produce 726 eggs. This likely wouldn't happen in the wild. Dead insects are neither meaty nor malodorous enough to attract blowflies. It takes a substantial quantity decomposing under moist conditions to reproduce the same breeding environment as a vertebrate corpse. A fine paste of blank normal adult blowflies matching the species of 726 larva. Single abnormally huge fly, quickly expired. That was unexpected. Too bad about the square cube law. I'd have loved to observe it further. Don't know what the square... What is the square cube law? I'm just learning all kinds of stuff today. The square cube law, or cube square law, is a mathematical principle applied in a variety of scientific fields which describes the relationship between the volume and the surface area as a shape's size increases or decreases. So I guess that just means that because of the square cube law, it didn't manage to live because it didn't have organs the size of its body. Or something. One filet mignon. A mature male salmon. Convulsed violently as though drowning when placed in water. Flop hazardly when removed from liquid but did not display stress as it asphyxiated. One fried calamari ring. An adult male squid immediately placed in a pool of water. Writhed helplessly until removed from liquid. Dragged itself crudely with tentacles, actively consumed fecal matter and decomposing flesh. 726 properties in sperm sample. One fast food cheeseburger from blank drive-through. Reconstituted 2 mature cattle and blank Norwegian rats. Ugh. 1 can of commercially available potted meat food product. Analysis showed beef and pork derivatives, high fructose corn syrup, and 12 FDA-approved preservative agents. Data expunged. What the blank were those even remotely supposed to be? Sample: single corpse from previous experiment ground into paste. Redacted, exhibiting extreme hostility to moving objects. All termination attempts failed. Specimen frozen. I liquefied it and it kept moving. Thawed sample of previous result. Redacted, exhibiting properties similar to SCP blank, incinerated. I'm not taking these tests any further. I might even put Brundle down. Addendum: testing of 726 has been discontinued following Dr. Blank's recent findings. Requests to use tissue generated by 726 for experimentation with 1361 and similar anomalies have subsequently been denied. The samples at Site 17 should be closely monitored for any inconsistent behavior or abnormal growth. Alright, cool. So, next up is the Hephaestus Forge. Hephaestus. Rip torn. So it's safe. A security fence has been constructed around the area of 727. Civilians are to be turned away and officials are to be told that the area around 727 is geologically unstable. Access to it is permitted only for testing and requires at least 1 armed guard on duty outside the item's entrance. All crafted objects produced inside 727 are to be stored in containment room 727H at site blank. 727 resembles a smithy of ancient Greek design. It contains artisans' tools originating from a wide variety of eras and countries, some of which have not yet been identified. The item's walls and ceiling are covered with masses of chains made from a similar material to iron. Its nature makes these chains' lengths impossible to measure. When a human being enters 727, the chains along the walls and ceiling become active and forcefully ensnare the subject. Ensnarement does not kill the subject, but invariably breaks many of its bones. Subjects with reinforced limbs are not immune to disfigurement. If more than 1 person enters 727 at a time, the chains kill all but 1 subject by strangulation. Non-human animals and inanimate objects are simply thrown from 727 by the chains. Once the chains have full control of a single human subject, they manipulate it like a puppet, forcing it to craft a series of objects of diverse nature and exceptional quality. Subjects describe this process as extremely painful. The source of the raw material for the crafted objects is unknown. After an indeterminate period of time, the chains throw the subject and its crafted objects out of 727 and become dormant until another person enters 727. Subjects of 727 are given no sustenance and no opportunity to sleep. If a subject loses consciousness, it is thrown out of the smithy. Surviving subjects are severely crippled and deformed, with many of their bones broken and joints twisted, but invariably demonstrate great manual dexterity. Persons interacting with surviving subjects, even those with previous experience working with the disabled, express feelings of disgust at their disfigurement. The only long-term psychological impact on the survivors themselves is withdrawal from social activities and failure to seek out human contact. Periodically, the chains will keep a subject within 727 for days at a time, forcing it to work on 1 large object instead of several smaller ones. So far, all of these projects have met with failure, as all such subjects have died before completing the item's work. For a list of the failed crafted objects, see Addendum 727. SCP-727 was discovered by tracking repeated reports of a miracle forge by mysteriously disfigured people in blank Greece. The item was contained, its victims were given Class B amnestics and placed in hospitals throughout Greece. Addendum: the list of failed crafts are as follows. A humanoid construct 10 meters tall with jointed limbs, a massive chariot of unknown metal capable of withstanding temperatures of over 6,000 degrees Celsius, a helmet and a pair of sandals with intricate silver wings. The subject expired while engraving the wings. A large piece of unknown metal, nearly indestructible. The metal was placed into 727's forge for 65 hours, in which time the subject expired. A large door frame and door. The subject expired while working on the locking mechanism, which did not match any known design. A clay statue resembling a young woman. The subject was strangled by the chains for an unknown reason. The statue shattered when it was thrown out of SCP-727. I can already see what the deal here is, because the thing with Hephaestus was that he had been disfigured by one of the other gods. I don't remember what the deal with that was. I think he was cast from Mount Olympus, and the act of that disfigured him. So his wife didn't want him because he was hideous and gross and something with Persephone. So it sounds like they're just disfiguring anyone who works at the forge so that they're Hephaestus-like. And the fact that they named it the Hephaestus Forge means that that is not lost on them. Which is to say, whoever wrote this did that on purpose, but in terms of the SCP Foundation Wiki, if the SCP Foundation was in fact a real thing, they did that on purpose. What's this again? The Forever Room. It's safe, although calling it the Forever Room sounds a little shifty. SCP-728 is to be kept within a Class 4 containment vault at Sector Blank. To date, the item has shown no activity to warrant anything other than standard security procedures to prevent unauthorized access. Why is authorized spelled like that? Yeah, see? Adjective authorized. Not having official permission or approval. I guess whoever wrote this is from Europe? 728 appears to be a standard shipping container, 12.19 by 2.44 by 2.90 meters. The exterior is painted red and shows some signs of weathering. Markings and numbers on the exterior are consistent with the system used by Data Redacted. However, no such designation has ever been assigned to one of their containers. Analysis of the material used in constructing the container has found it to be made from terrestrial metals, though not in any combination usually associated with the construction of shipping containers. The interior space is consistent with that of a standard shipping container, with the exception that it is constantly at a comfortable temperature and light level for human occupation, despite no methods of heat regulation or lighting being present. When the doors are closed, the interior space experiences the flow of time differently from the outside world. This difference is neither consistent nor predictable, with the flow of time capable of both speeding up and slowing down, and in some cases apparently reversing. Any equipment which could be used to record the flow of time, such as stopwatches, will function normally within the container. However, upon opening the door, such device will suffer a catastrophic failure and completely cease to function, with all data being erased. This extends to all data recorded while the doors were closed, and so far no medium has been found which can resist this effect, save for pen and paper. For this reason, the only reliable method to record the passage of time within 728 is through the use of a human observer. 728 is vulnerable to damage, as vulnerable to damage as any object made from Data Redacted. However, perforating the container caused the primary effect to no longer function. Any damage inflicted upon 728 appears to undo itself after a random amount of time, possibly as a side effect of its ability. And here's the experimentation log. Experiments consisted of sealing a person or persons within 728, measuring how much time passed in the outside world, and comparing this to the subject's experience measured with a standard watch. So, disposable 7466. 5 minutes, they experienced 2 hours. 1 hour, they experienced 1 minute and 30 seconds. 1 hour, experienced NA. The body was found in a sitting position against the rear wall of 728, apparently mummified. Tests dated the body is approximately blank 1,000 years old. The hands were severely damaged with multiple fractures and lacerations. Right leg was broken, and organic compound was found on the doors of 728, which identified as Data Redacted. Disposable 9558. 1 hour. When it was opened, they were no longer present. Testing suspended for today. Okay. Subject. D9558. 66 hours. NA. When questioned as how much time had passed, subject was adamant that we'd never closed the doors. Okay, subjects. D9558, 8627, and 4513. 1 hour. NA. Subjects were interred within 728 with enough rations to last all 3 men 5 years, as well as a supply of notebooks and pens. Subjects were instructed to keep a record of their experiences while inside. When the container was opened, all 3 were found dead. Subjects 9558 and 4513 had both suffered severe beatings and apparently died from their injuries. Evidence suggests that their bodies had been disemboweled and subject to acts of probably cannibalism. Subject 8627 had died from disembowelment, apparently self-inflicted. The logs were apparently kept as specified for blank years before slowly degrading into unintelligible ranting. Similar writings were found on the walls of 728 written in the blood and feces of all 3 subjects, although fingerprinting identified that 8627 was the only writer. Analysis of the feces found that in all 3 cases it was most likely taken directly from Data Redacted. Probably directly from the bowels. Okay, so, marble bath. Looks pretty. Kind of reminds me of butter pecan ice cream, and now I want butter pecan ice cream. Or peanut butter, a ripple. Oh yeah. That'd be nice. Anyway, SCP-729 is stored in a standard security chamber at Site Blank. For ease of testing, 729 has been connected to the Site Blank water and sewage systems. However, use of the object outside of test conditions is prohibited. It used to say the risk associated with passive interaction with 729 are minimal. Now it says, some staff have reported feeling dirty or stressed during prolonged periods in the vicinity of 729, accompanied by a mild compulsion to make use of it to bathe. This compulsion does not appear to be strong enough to force staff to break containment protocols so as to access it. However, staff feeling said compulsion are encouraged to leave the vicinity. Description: SCP-729 is a large bathtub carved from marble. The item's properties were discovered by accident during a police reconstruction of a suspected murder-suicide in blankety blank. It was retrieved by an undercover Foundation agent soon after. Bathing in 729 has been described as extremely relaxing to the extent that individuals using it for this purpose must be encouraged to leave by an external force. They will not exit the bath of their own accord. The primary effect of 729 begins to manifest between 5 and 15 minutes after an individual has begun to bathe. At this stage, all foreign or abnormal objects are forcibly expelled from the user's body. This has been observed to include artificial implants, parasitic organisms, cancerous growths, and data expunged. While under the influence of 729, users appear unaware of this process. If disturbed by an external force, they immediately experience extreme pain consistent with the trauma inflicted upon their body. Objects removed in this way typically settle in the water alongside the bather. Approximately 4 minutes after the initial manifestation of its effect, bathers begin to suffer from rapid muscle wastage. Material loss in this way becomes mixed with the water within the bath. As a result of this, bathers quickly lose the strength required to exit 729 even if they were so inclined, and must be assisted by external observers. Within 6 minutes, the process begins to affect major organs, extracting them from the body almost intact. Death typically occurs soon after. Despite the massive trauma inflicted in this way, users remain ignorant of the effect unless alerted to it by an external force. Complete deconstruction of the bather's body is typically completed within 20 minutes of the onset of 729's effect. At this stage, it is possible to extract specific organs from within the mix of water and organic material left within the bathtub, although these are typically damaged to some extent. If left in 729, these remains are further deconstructed. After 5 hours, no identifiable material remains with the contents of 729, instead comprising an organic soup. Long-term tests have indicated that this appears to be slowly absorbed into 729, leaving clean water after 8 days. Parts of the stone from which 729 is carved subsequently show discoloration. So that brings us to the Decerebrating Plague, which again sounds like it kills brains. And it's Euclid. And what am I looking at? Dr. Blank's lab including infected sheep subjects. What am I looking at? Are there just not heads anymore? SCP-730 is associated materials and the subjects are housed in Sector 7 and a Delta-level containment facility. Ongoing research necessitates regular staff interaction with affected materials using appropriate isolation equipment. Researchers are required to undergo 36 hours of isolation and decontamination before leaving the containment facility. Any staff exposed to 730 will be reclassified as a research subject and assigned to the facility indefinitely. Description: SCP-730 is an engineered retrovirus developed in Blank, Italy by Dr. Blank. It infects and mutates developing mammalian embryos, including humans, causing abnormal fetal development. Infected individuals grow the term as physically healthy fetuses lacking any anatomical features above the brainstem. See Epidemiology Report. This vestigial brainstem is capable of passive maintenance of the body's functions, including heart rate, respiration, digestion, homeostatic function, and waste elimination. The affected individuals show no higher functionality but respond to pain stimuli, recoiling or fleeing in the limited fashion available. With the use of intravenous life support equipment, it appears that the biological functions of affected individuals can be extended indefinitely, though owing to the complete alteration of their genomes by the retrovirus, no recovery is possible. Adult organisms cannot be infected by the virus, but act as passive carriers once exposed. The virus is spread by contact with any bodily excretion, including sweat. Once exposed, an individual will continue to harbor a reservoir of the virus without experiencing any ill effects until they contact an exposed or pregnant woman, whereupon the virus's symptoms will manifest. Antivirals and inoculations have thus far been ineffective in cleansing carriers of the virus. While Foundation operations in support of 730's recovery and public suppression were successful, the possibility that carrier individuals remain at large cannot be discounted. Surveillance of public health institutions is ongoing even as materials recovered from the initial outbreak are studied to seek a treatment. Incident 1. Capture Summary. SCP-730 was designed to affect fertilized mammalian embryos and intervene in the developmental process to produce decerebrated or brainless organisms. It was Dr. Blank's intention to use this virus to produce animals without higher brain functions, which could be raised for meat production without the ethical complications of killing thinking creatures for food. Shortly after the first successful test with sheep embryos, the virus mutated and was able to cross into members of the lab staff. Because the virus does not manifest in adults, this jump was not initially detected. Only once hospitals in the region reported an epidemic of unprecedented birth defects did the Foundation become interested and the cause identified. The epidemic was intercepted before it spread beyond local confines to the global population. Sanitation procedures denied the virus an epidemic population of passive carriers to further its spread. Materials and affected subjects were obtained and isolated under Foundation custody for further study, as were Foundation personnel exposed during the initial investigation. It sounds like they probably nuked the town. But in any case, that about does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next one we'll be reading Rat Hole Cover, The Fanfic Plague, A Pair of Scissors, The Baby, and Insult Bots. So, if you liked it, a like and subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you'll need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.